Good morning. Welcome back to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. All right, we've been talking about investing. We've been talking about a lot of different areas. One of the things I also want to leave you with on this has to do with, we started out with taxes. So I want to take another look at that, because this was an article that was in the Wall Street Journal recently, and one of the things it talks about is how taxes basically are paid. So one of the things that this had to do with is that 10% of the people paying to take care of 90% of Americans. What does that mean exactly? Well, first of all, when it comes to assets, people are always asking me, well, how are we doing? How are we doing? Well, how you're doing is all about, more specific to your situation than some general number that someone can throw out. But I will give you some averages here that may be of interest to you. But when it comes to how you're doing as far as your retirement preparedness, this has to do with what your income is, what your expenses are, what you're going to need in retirement, and relative to how much you've saved up so far. Okay, so when we look at the future, we're saying, well, we know what drawdown rates are safe to take from an investment portfolio, all right? But if it's properly constructed. People a lot of times get into trouble from taking too much risk or not having control of the volatility in their portfolio. Now here's something to keep in mind. So all right, when it comes to, it says 90% of Americans have less than $140,000 saved. 75% of Americans, in fact, have less than $28,000 in assets. That's a 9-year, this is after a 9-year bull market, right? So we've had one of the most prosperous times as far as the stock market goes, and still we see such little savings out there. And if you think about it, if all you've got is like 140,000 saved, unless you've got a really modest lifestyle, that's not going to provide you much, maybe $400 or $500 a month in retirement on that kind of money. So is that going to be enough for you? And this is part of this. The other thing is to understand 20% of Americans pay 87% of income tax in America. Think about that and what that might mean, right? I hope this has been helpful for you this week, and I hope you'll join me here each and every week on the Retirement Report.